Hello friends, welcome back to my channel for today's Halloween decor DIY video. If you're new here, then welcome. My name is Kelly Pecoskie, and I'm so happy you stopped by to see my Halloween decor ideas for 2020. The first Halloween decor project are these cute painted mini pumpkins. I bought these for about $2 at Michael's and just covered them with some chalkboard paint. I followed the instructions on the bottle, which said to add 2 coats, 1 vertical and 1 horizontal. I ended up adding a 3rd coat just to make sure all of the orange was fully covered, since the first layer kind of had trouble sticking to the pumpkins. They were kind of like a slippery texture, but the 3rd coat did the trick. Then I just wrote some spooky words on the pumpkins with a chalkboard pen, and I think they turned out really cute. Next up is a spiderweb door hanger. I also bought this wooden hoop at Michael's. It's a great time to buy Halloween stuff there because they're already in full-blown Christmas mode, so all of this stuff was on sale and Halloween isn't even over yet. So as you can see, I painted the hoop black and I'm adding some of that fake spiderweb material. I'm just draping it around the edges and it sticks pretty well, but I did add a little bit of glue for just some extra reinforcement. I'm not gonna lie, this stuff is really annoying to work with, but it turned out in the end. So then I used a glue gun to attach the fake spiders to the edge of the hoop, and then I just scattered a few like in the webs as well. I used some black ribbon to make the hanger part and tied a bow just to add some kind of cute along with the spooky vibes. This would look really cool if you have like a colored or a dark colored door, because the spider webs would show up even more than they are on the white door. These hanging bats are a fun Halloween decor piece and a super easy DIY project. I found this bat wing printout online and I cut it out to use as a stencil on some black cardstock. You could also use felt, foam, whatever black material you have at home. I painted a couple of toilet paper rolls black to use as the bat's bodies, and then you'll see I'm folding in the edges to make this triangular shape of the bat's ears and wings. I used a glue gun to add some googly eyes, but you could skip the step if you're going for more of a spooky vibe rather than cutesy. Then I also used the glue gun to attach the wings. I just used a small amount at first to get them in place, and then reinforced it with more along each side of the wing. I hung them up with some fishing wire so it almost looks like the bats are just hanging there on their own, and there you have it. This next Halloween decoration is a Pom Pom Garland. The 3 types of Pom Pom characters are the pumpkin, spider, and ghost. To make the pumpkin, the first thing you'll need to do is to make a pom pom. And to make the pom pom, you'll just need to find something to wrap the yarn around. For smaller pom poms, I find like a credit card works really well, or just anything that's fairly firm so the yarn doesn't fold in as it wraps. When you have a good amount of yarn wrapped around, you can carefully slide it off and prepare to make a tie around the center. I kind of just eyeballed how much I needed to wrap, but typically I find it's better to have too much rather than too less, because if you don't have enough, your pom-pom's going to look pretty sparse. Next, tie another piece of yarn around the center and make sure it's pretty tight. Then you'll be able to cut the loops of the yarn the whole way around. It's probably going to look a little weird at first because the next step is to do a whole lot of trimming. As you trim, it starts to look more and more like a ball, so just keep going a little bit at a time until you're happy with how it looks. I followed the same process to make the spider because I wanted it to be about the same shape and size as the pumpkin. So I'm just wrapping the yarn around, pulling it off and tying around the center, and lastly trimming it up. For the ghost, I recommend wrapping around something a little bit longer, otherwise the bottom of the ghost looks a little too poofy. This time when you pull the yarn off, you'll just want to tie around a little bit higher than the middle to form more of like a head shape. I had to play around with this part a lot to get the yarn to lay properly, and I actually ended up adding some glue to keep some of the pieces in place so it looked more like a round head. Next, I'm adding some pipe cleaners to the top of the pumpkin as a stem and the side of the spider for its legs. I just cut them to size and formed them into their shapes, and then I used a glue gun to attach them to the pom-poms. A glue gun's probably excessive for this project, but I had it out for another project, so I just went with that. Then I attached a string loop to the top of each pom-pom and laced a thicker twine through each loop to make the garland. I also glued the strings to the twine as well because I wanted to keep the pom-poms evenly spaced. I love this Eeek sign. I think it looks pretty cool. I got my dad to cut 3 wooden blocks and drill a hole through them, but I bet you could find something similar at a dollar or a craft store. I gave each of the blocks a couple of coats of orange paint. When they were dry, I printed out some letters to use as stencils. I just Googled the letter E printable and found a few options and just chose the font I liked best. So yeah, I cut out the letter and used a pencil to trace it onto the block. Now I'm just trimming a piece of the rope that has been spray painted black and lacing the letters onto the rope. I tied off the other end, and that's all there is to this project. This next DIY is super easy. All I did was, once again, search for a printable on Google. This time I printed out a bat silhouette. I cut them out and decided to add a step of gluing them onto some cardstock just because I wanted to keep them in decent shape and potentially reuse again another year, so I wanted them to be reinforced by the cardstock. But you could totally skip the step to make it an even easier DIY. Once you have a few bats cut out, then you can tape them onto the inside of a lamp, and when you turn the light on, you'll see the bats through the lamp shade. Next up, I made these little jack-o'-lanterns. They're meant to be coasters, but I think you could do a number of different things with these. You could just have them on display or put a magnet on them, keep them on the fridge, whatever you want. Nick made me these little cork coasters out of an old cork board, but this is another thing I'm sure you could just find them already made at a dollar store or a craft store. So as you saw, I just drew on a jack-o'-lantern face, and now I'm gluing on some little black and orange pom-poms. Again, a glue gun might have been more than necessary, but Mila loves trying to pull pom-poms off anywhere that she finds them, so I needed a bit of a stronger glue because of that. These ghosts are definitely the easiest DIY in my video today, but I think they're such a cute way to decorate a bathroom for Halloween, or you could even just put some toilet paper ghosts anywhere in your house for that matter. All I did was cut out some black eyes and mouths from cardstock and taped them onto the toilet paper rolls to make a ghost face. Like I said, super easy, also super affordable, and I think they look pretty cool.
That's all the DIY projects I have for you today. If you enjoyed seeing these Halloween decoration ideas and got any inspiration from them, then I'd love it if you would give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, then do so below and hit the bell button so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thanks so much for watching. Have a very happy Halloween, and I will see you in the next video.